on quick. No dry one-word responses, no weird gameplaying. She actually seems interested in getting to know me. She carries the conversation, says she prefers small gestures over grand displays, loves taking care of people, and just wants a good, solid relationship. Feels too good to be true, but I roll with it. No awkward tension, just easy conversation and genuine laughter. When the check comes, she refuses to let me pay. No entitlement, no expectations, just natural chemistry. Go on a few more dates, and it just keeps getting better. She insists on cooking for me at her place one night. Shows up in an apron, making homemade pasta from scratch like it's no big deal. I just like taking care of people, she says with a little smile. Bro, I think I'm in love. 3 months in, we're solid. Best relationship I've ever had. We have little arguments, but we're figuring things out. Figure it's time to introduce her to my friend group. Now my friends are a mixed bag. The guys are cool, but the girls are okay. Most of them are dating my friends, so I put up with them. Bring Emily to the group hangout. Everyone greets her, some with more enthusiasm than others. The interrogation starts subtle at first. One of the girls. So what does he do for you? Oh well, he makes me really happy. He's sweet, thoughtful, and always makes time for me. Another girl. Yeah, but like, does he cook for you? Does he clean for you? Does he take care of you the way you take care of him? Emily laughs it off, saying she enjoys taking care of me, but I can see the shift. The gears turning in her head. She's wondering what they're even asking. The comments keep coming. You shouldn't have to do all that for a guy. He should be the one spoiling you. Don't let him get too comfortable, or he'll take advantage. Meanwhile, I notice something weird. The same girls who never paid me any attention before. Suddenly, they're way more engaged, laughing at my jokes, making longer eye contact. One even casually touches my arm while talking to me. These are the same girls who used to ignore me unless they needed something. Now that I have a loving girlfriend, they suddenly seem interested, but at the same time, they're planting doubts in Emily's head, like they want to sabotage us, trying to turn her against me themselves. Emily and I leave after a while. She's quiet in the car, and I wonder if the comments got to her. Finally she sighs and looks over at me. I don't like those girls very much. Yeah? They don't seem like nice people. Kind of catty. Relief washes over me. She sees it. She's not easily influenced by their passive-aggressive BS. I was worried she'd start second-guessing things, but she's solid. I nod. Yeah, I never really thought highly of them either. We both agree. Probably won't be hanging out with them much anymore. Go home, cuddle up, and I realize how lucky I am. Not just to have her, but to be with her. Actually see her. Finally found something real. Not gonna let jealous people ruin it.
I'm running out of space. Okay, so I'm building my last detolf today. Back in July, I actually bought 4 detolfs off of Facebook Marketplace, and over the past 2 weeks, I've been finally putting them together, and I'm building my last one today. I'm running out of space. It's a luxury that I've taken for granted over the past 11 years I've been in this room. But we're also going to be answering your guys' questions that I asked over on Twitter. If you want to follow me there, you can. So let's get started. What anime are you currently keeping up with, and what is your opinion on getting pre-owned figures? So I'm actually not keeping up with any anime right now because I've been too busy. The only thing I've been keeping up with this winter season is Solo Leveling Season 2. There's definitely a lot more shows than that on my watch list for this winter season, but right now that's all I've been watching. In terms of pre-owned figures, I think they're a great way for any starting figure collector. You can get some really nice figures for cheap. Of course, that really depends on what figure you're going for, because if you're going for a really old and rare figure, it's typically more expensive. Because when I first started getting into figure collecting, I bought a lot of pre-owned stuff. I don't buy a lot of pre-owned stuff anymore, mainly because I'm too preoccupied with pre-orders nowadays. Now, of course, that's if you're not like a huge germaphobe. I have one friend who refuses to buy secondhand stuff because he hates germs. Every time he leaves his house and he comes back, he will not step into his room until he's taken a shower. And you might think that doesn't sound too bad, but let's say he has to go grab the mail outside, right? He'll go outside, grab the mail, come back in, take a shower, then go back into his room. Do you see yourself ever selling parts of your collection in the future that you may grow out of, or will that not happen, and why? I'm one of the very few figure collectors that probably hasn't sold or downscaled their collection at all, and my philosophy when it comes to figure collecting, I make it a point to only buy figures of characters from series that I either play or I have watched and I really love. I see a lot of figure collectors, people in my comment section as well, and they'll be like, I know nothing about this character or franchise, but I bought this figure. And you know, that's great if you have the disposable income for that, but figures aren't cheap. So for me, I want to make my money well spent, so I typically only aim for figures from franchises I really care about. easy it is to get enamored by a figure, whether you see it online in pictures or you watch it in a really cool YouTube video, and then that just really sparks your belief for wanting to own the figure. But I've seen that happen too many times to people, and then later they'll have an epiphany and they'll realize that they should have curated their collection more with things that they actually give a shit about. And then they'll have to go through the whole process of trying to sell the figure, and it just becomes a big hassle. So save yourself the time and effort and just focus on things that you are actually invested in. Just my 2 cents. How the hell do you get such a good shot of your desk/figures and yourself in your videos? Alright, so I get a lot of questions when it comes to like how good my videos look, and the biggest thing for making your videos look good is your lighting. Lighting is the end-all be-all for your videos, because I can give you like an 8K cinema red camera, but if you don't have a good understanding of lighting techniques, shape it and use it to make your image look good, then your videos gonna look crap. A lot of people get really hung up in terms of like the camera gear, and the camera does matter to an extent. And like if you want a 4K crispy image, but you get a camera that can only shoot 1080p, then of course it's gonna matter. But most cameras nowadays in the modern era all record 4K, so it really doesn't matter what camera you get, guys. If you want a recommendation from me, if you want to go the Sony route, I'd recommend starting off with the Sony ZV-E10. It is a fantastic camera. I've been thinking about one myself, but I just haven't had the money to. You can go for the Mark II if you actually have the budget. That's like double the price though. But the Mark II, in my opinion, isn't that much of a substantial difference over the Mark I, so just get the Mark I. And then pick up some decent lighting. I'd recommend like some cheap Amazon softboxes. They don't break the bank and they work pretty well. Pick up a decent lens if you want to get something extra aside from like a kit lens. I'd recommend getting like a 50mm, but that is a tight focal length. So if you're in an enclosed space that is quite small, you might want to go a little bit wider, maybe 16mm, somewhere around that range. Should Aoko Aozaki be added to Fortnite? No. I already didn't want Miku added to Fortnite, but here we are. Yes, you can call me a hater, I don't care. How often do you clean/dust off your figures? I used to recommend at least once a week, but that was before my collection grew over like 25 figures. Now I usually only do it about once a month. I try my best. Any tips for people who are actively running out of space? I kind of rocket boosted myself into this hobby and I'm already out of space. Well, you're talking to a person who is running out of space themselves, and I would love some advice. If you're a person who doesn't care about your figure boxes, I recommend throwing them away. It's a little blasphemous because I keep all of mine, but if you don't give a crap, throw out your boxes. If you're talking about space to display your figures and you have that, I'd recommend getting some shelves or display cabinets. Hopefully you have room for that, and then you have some space to display your figures. And if not that, then I don't know, move. In this economy, yeah, that's a good one. How do you not run out of money? This is a fun question. But no, I'm not super rich. I'm just in a very privileged position where I still live with family and I don't have to pay as many bills as most people. That's literally all it is. Plus, I feel like people watch the room tours and then just assume that I got all of that stuff all at once. Like, come on, guys, you give a person who doesn't have to pay as much bills and give them 10 years of time to collect, they'll end up getting a really big, substantial collection. So it's not like I make a crap ton of money. It's just that I'm in a more favorable situation compared to most people. I just work a regular retail job, and I also do this YouTube thing on the side. The YouTube channel makes just enough to cover like the shipping costs and maybe a figure here or there, but it's nothing absolutely massive. What postal service has been the most kind to you and your goods? When it comes to receiving packages, whether they be in perfect condition or in terrible condition, I usually think that just depends on how good of a day has been. Canadian figure collector here. What alternative do you have to the IKEA detail? Well, considering how I'm building one right now, I don't have any alternatives. Seriously, if you're a Canadian figure collector and you like the all glass display look, like a detail, we legit have no options, man. Like, we're boned. One of my patrons the other day linked a Home Depot glass display cabinet that looked pretty good, but it was quite expensive. I was like, well, if I ever got really desperate, I would definitely pick that up. So I looked at the Home Depot Canadian website. Even in the US, I feel like they have options, but you're never gonna find anything as cheap as a detail place. Like, nothing's gonna come close. Thoughts on the Kiseki series as of now, story, music / art wise. In terms of the story, it's not really finished yet. If you're talking about the story between each game, I'd say I generally enjoy them. I think they're pretty good. The only one I would probably say is a little bit more of a downgrade in terms of writing would probably be Kuro 2, which is set to come out for North American fans next month. I already played it like 2 years ago. ago, so I feel like that's going to be a very divisive game for people. You're either going to really like it or you're really going to hate it. Me personally, I did like a lot of the action sequences in Korra 2. Thanks to the special gimmick that game has, you're able to see a lot of scenes that you otherwise wouldn't have. But in terms of like the final antagonist, I think it was kind of like an ass, if you know what I'm saying. In terms of the music, I have noticed a significant decrease in the amount of tracks I like per game, ever since Hajimari pretty much. And it's mainly because one of the main composers from Falcom doesn't actually compose music anymore. There's a rumor that he left the company, but there's other rumors that he's still with the company, but he just doesn't compose music anymore. I don't know what to believe, but it would make sense if the rumor was true, because I did notice a significant lack of tracks that I actually like. Takahiro Unisuga was the composer's name, and they composed a lot of the Cold Steel soundtrack that I actually really like and use in my videos. So in terms of the art and animation, it's gotten very good. If you compare Cold Steel 4 animations to like the combat and cutscenes to the recent night and day difference. Since you play a good amount of gacha games, do you skip the story? As a person who is very used to reading hours of text dialogue because of visual novels, playing the story of gacha games does not faze me. I feel like when it comes to most modern day gacha games, if there's more than like 5 dialogue text boxes, they'll just hit the skip button, and then afterwards they'll say there was too much of a yap fest and that the story was terrible, even though they never actually read through the entire story. So in terms of gacha games that I actually do think have very good stories, FGO, Arknights, Girls Frontline, and Nikkei. Yeah, I know, it's surprising Nikkei has a really good story, because I think most people just look at that game and just think it's complete, like, degenerate bait. The hot girls and the sexy outfits are a plus, okay? It's got a great story, and the side events can also have very good stories, like the most recent one with Rapping Red Hood. Fantastic. I bought Trails of Cold Steel because we were on sale, and now I don't know if I should start it because there's so many and apparently together. Is Trails of Cold Steel a good starting point? Trails of Cold Steel is a good starting point, and I don't know because I started there. But if you want advice from a person who did start at Cold Steel and then regretted it, start from the beginning. The Trails franchise, for anyone not in the know, is a series of RPGs that tell an overarching story that takes place on the same continent. The games span, how many games are there now? Like 14? And there's no massive time skips between the games either. It all takes place in the same era. So Trails is very unique in that aspect. There's not that many games that have like that much of like a big storytelling masterpiece that's going on. So generally speaking, the first game of every single country is a good place to start, but in my honest to God opinion, I believe you should start from the beginning because I think you'll just have a more fulfilled experience that way. Obviously, starting from the beginning, chronological order, you'll understand the world better. A lot of character appearances and references will make a lot more sense to you, and your experience will just be much better overall. Take it from me, I regretted not starting at the beginning, and I also gave the same advice to my cousin because he was in the same position as you. He completely ignored my advice, and then when he went to go back and play those games, he regretted not taking my advice. I always find it weird when people always ask if they can start a series in the middle of said series. Like in my head, I don't understand the reasoning for it unless you have like a severe case of FOMO. Also, if you start from the beginning, you'll also be gradually going up with Trails, so quality of life improvements, gameplay improvements, graphics improvements, and plus the previous games are all great, so like you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't play those games. Where did I put the glass shelving for this? Oh no. Alright, false alarm. I found a do you edit your own videos? Indeed I do. I am definitely not in the financial position to hire an editor. Where are you planning to put all your future figures? In these detolfs that I'm making, if you designed your perfect anime figure, what character would it be and what would they be doing / wearing? I've never really thought about that. Oh, but I do want a Julian figure from ZZZ. Apex, please get on that. She's absolutely perfect. If anyone looks like Julian, hit me up. What gacha games are you currently playing? My favorite gacha games are Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, and Girls Frontline. Two of the ones that you stated, FGO, Arknights, Nikkei, Blue Archive, Azur Lane, Wuthering Waves. I think that's it. Of course, I do play some more than others, and then others I kind of just log in every day. But that's about it. Is there any old figure that you don't have but really want? Oh, which by the way, love your art. Keep up the great work. Feel free to give them a follow. Probably the Sakura Mato and Saber Alter from Stronger. I wouldn't necessarily say those are old figures, but those are ones I don't have that I want. The first Nendroid ever, which is Echo Arc. Probably Rin's Unlimited Blood Wars figure from GSC. Current top 5 visual novels, not including Type Moon visual novels, Muv-Luv, Magikoi, or Keyworks. The guy basically just Muramasa. Muramasa is amazing. And then number 5, let's throw in Subahibi. What's your opinion on minimalism? I personally like your videos and figures in general, but I feel like if I start collecting, I only have one, it will become a burden. I personally really dig minimal setups. I think that looks really good, especially if you can just add like a splash of your interests and hobbies into it. I would love to have like a minimal setup. The problem with me is that I collect so much stuff and I feel the need to display everything that it looks a little bit cluttered. Do gacha characters have better designs than mainstream anime characters? I would say for the most part, yes. And that's mainly because they're designed that way. The whole purpose of a gacha game essentially is for you to spend money pulling the characters, right? Let's not beat around the bush. So the characters themselves are inherently designed to be appealing so that you will feel incentivized to pull for the character because you want to have them in the game. So that's why for the most part, I think gacha game characters are designed a lot better than just mainstream anime shows. And this also aligns with like a lot of figure manufacturer picks as well. I get a ton of comments whenever I do upcoming anime figure videos because a lot of people just complain like there's too many gacha game characters, whereas all the actual anime characters are at. But you got to think about it from a manufacturer's perspective here. When it comes to seasonal anime, after the season ends, they kind of just lose relevancy. Unless it's a really popular series or you have really beloved female characters. ReZero, for example, very popular series, but also has beloved female characters such as Amelia and Ram. Those two characters have a crap ton of figures, probably have more than some series out there. Whereas when it comes to gacha games, they're always popular, they're always relevant because they're live service. They're always getting updates, new characters, outfits for existing characters. Not to mention that you had people who will wail for the characters in the game. So when you think about it that way, in a figure manufacturer's perspective, they're going to want to make gacha game characters because, well, if they're already selling well in the game, then obviously those fans are going to be more likely to spend money on an actual figure of the character. And that's not including people who don't want to spend money on the gacha, but they'll be totally fine with spending money on a figure of their favorite character. So it totally makes sense why figure manufacturers typically go towards gacha games because, well, the designs are already good, so it's very easy to make a figure out of. Arknights is a good example. They have fantastic figures, and I think that's partly mainly due to the designs of the characters being so good. Like, look at the comment section of some of my videos. People will be buying gacha game figures, but they don't even play the games themselves. What is your favorite anime slash game slash scale of the year? Favorite anime of last year was definitely Camp Season 3, not even a question. Favorite game would have to go to either Kai no Kiseki or Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and favorite scale would probably have to be New Jersey. Do you ever feel like you'll lose interest in collecting one day? I think I'll always still have a love for collecting. If this YouTube thing doesn't like pan out, then I could definitely see myself slowing down in the future. Your thoughts on the changes in the figure collecting industry? I noticed that a lot of Chinese manufacturers are putting their hats in the ring, and also more companies are making affordable options. Yeah, you're not wrong. A lot of Chinese manufacturers are entering the ring, you know, like Bear Panda, for example, making a lot of 1/4, 1/6 figures for literally 1/3 of the cost of the competition. Not to mention that they're making their own like cheap figure lines, like Mythos with Gift Plus and Apex with their Lime Pie series. They just announced a really nice Chen Lime Pie figure, which I definitely will be ordering. What's the point of pre-order items? When they always drop price, should we just wait for them to release and then buy with a better price after? I know right now pre-orders kind of seem pointless because a lot of the stuff you might be into is very easily attainable after the fact, and hell, you might even be able to get it on sale. But before COVID, a lot of the times figures would go out of stock, and if you didn't pre-order it, well, you were kind of shit out of luck. But nowadays, since a lot of people got into figure collecting, there's a lot more cancellations that happen. So a lot of more new figure collectors equals a lot of more cancellations because typically, you know, they're new, maybe they change their minds, or they'll see the shipping price and then ask for a cancellation after the fact. So legitimately, the reason why they have pre-orders is so that they can make a specified amount so that stores don't end up with leftover stock. But nowadays, stores do end up being leftover stock. It really depends on the series, of course. Like, for example, the Steins Gate Markise Kurisu figure, Gate of Steiner, when that first came out, it was sold out everywhere. Of course, that's before the re-release, but you get what I'm saying, right? Whereas when it comes to Azur Lane figures, typically every single one that I bought has always been in stock afterward. You can get them easily, and they usually go on sale as well. My advice always is never pre-order unless it's like a figure you can't live without. Like, if you're fine with the figure being in stock and even going on sale for a cheaper price after, then still pre-order it. But if you're not fine with that and you want to save the bucks, don't pre-order. You shouldn't even be pre-ordering in the first place because you don't know how well the figure is going to turn out. So you should always be waiting for release because then you can see user pictures and then decide if you want to buy it or not. Right? Let the dumb people take a risk first. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. That's it from me. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna be putting this thing. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Di zaman yang kita lihat krisis ataupun epidemik kesihatan mental meruncing, bukan hanya di belah-belah timur tapi di seluruh dunia, kerana banyak hal yang hari ini berubah cara manusia hidup, dan salah satu benda itu adalah terdorong untuk cepat berputus asa. Salah satu
ちょっとしたとよっサプライズ
おい
ちょっとしたトリック
また雨？まったく面倒ね。痕跡が雨水。また雨？まったく面倒ね。
サプライズここよ。いやちょっとしたトリック。
オッケー。痛がっちゃいないよ。また雨？まったく面倒ね。痕跡が雨水で流されると復元に時間がかかるのよ。
サプライズいやここよ。
satu kisah Nabi yang Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala ceritakan dalam Quran ni, Masya Allah, selalunya kita lihat kisah para Nabi ni, dia ada watak yang menyakiti Nabi tu, dan Nabi tu berlawan dan kemudian di hujungnya menang, ataupun ada kisah-kisah yang mereka kalah dalam konteks dunia tapi menang di akhirat. Tapi Nabi Yunus alaihissalam sangat unik kisahnya. Dia berdakwah kepada kaumnya sehingga dia fed up. Sebagai seorang Nabi, dia ada peraturan, tak boleh buat keputusan sehingga mendapat wahyu daripada Allah SWT. Tapi dia terlalu rasa give up, fed up dengan kaum dia, dan dalam tempoh yang panjang dia mengajak manusia kepada Tuhan, tinggalkan keburukan, maksiat ni. Sangat sedikit orang yang sudi pun nak mendengar, apa lagi nak cerita membina kepengikutan tu. Tak ada followership yang banyak dan sebagainya, sehingga satu point dia kata, mungkin macam kita rasa selalu, what's the point? Kalau ini jalan yang betul, kenapa susah sangat? Bukalah, mudahkanlah kan. Kita akan rasa begitu. So Nabi Yunus alaihissalam sampai satu point dia kata, what's the point? So dia pun mengambil keputusan untuk naik ke kapal yang meninggalkan kaum. Dalam perjalanan tu Allah bawa gelora laut yang sungguh dahsyat, dan mereka buat undi. Pun begitu Nabi Yunus dikenali dalam masyarakat. Yang naik kapal tu pun sebagai orang yang terhormat lah. Ini bukan orang biasa-biasa, high profile. So bila kapal tu bergelora, keputusan yang diambil oleh kapten adalah untuk mengurangkan, untuk offload kapal tu. Paling kurang kita keluarkan seorang supaya kita boleh stabilkan ataupun kawal dalam gelora ni. Jadi mereka buat undian untuk pilih siapa yang akan dikeluarkan daripada kapal tu. Bayangkan kita ada kat situ, nama kita tu dalam balang tu lah, macam appendix punya. So dalam konteks tu dia nasib lah, dia undi nasib. Tapi Allah